Today, we are going to lose our marbles and have a blast as we learn how to play Backfire. First off, it's a 2 to 4 player game, but that's with one deck. If you want more players, you can shuffle 2 decks together and support 8. To begin the game, we start by shuffling the deck and dealing out 3 cards to each player. We are going to do a 3-player game, and each of these mats will represent a different player, because these are the zones that each player controls. And this art is courtesy of potentially the most handsome contemporary illustrator of our time. Now, the turn consists of 4 phases: your start phase, your draw phase, your play phase, and your end phase. The start, let's actually look at, there are 3 main card types. You have your spheres, which you can play into your own zone or another player's zone, and you determine that based on whether or not it's an advantage to have. Detonate cards, you put on a sphere and attach it to it, so that if a player ends their turn with this in their zone, they lose the game. And of course, roll cards, which push that problem to somebody else. Alright, let's So your start phase kicks in, and any sphere in your zone that has a start of turn effect, that effect happens. You then move to your draw phase, which is just drawing 2 cards from the deck. All players share the same deck in the same discard pile. When it runs out, you just shuffle it all up again. The play phase is where you can play any number of cards until you decide to stop, and at the end phase, that is when you trigger all of your end of turn spheres and discard down to the 7 card maximum hand size. Alright, let's have a ball, or 2, or 3. So we'll say this is player 1, and we'll go in clockwise order. So the start of turn, we have nothing in the zone, no effects there. Draw phase, draw 2 cards. What we're looking at now, in terms of spheres, we have Venus, which if you have 5 or more spheres in your zone at the start of your turn, you win the game. Azure, which lets you draw an extra card each turn at the beginning. And Venom, which at the end of your turn, you lose the game unless you discard 3 cards. So these ones are good to have in the zone. This one is not our friend. We have a way to trade spheres, and we have a way to roll one away to any player we'd like. So we're going to put Venom over here on player 2, put Azure in our own zone. We go to end phase, but we don't have anything that triggers at end, and we don't have to discard down to 7 cards. Player 2 draws 2 cards. We have Chaos, which forces you to play your first card at random. Demon, which whenever it rolls to a player, that player rolls one of their spheres into the discard pile. And we have Steal, which can take another player's sphere, put it in your zone. Well, because we can't roll Venom away, we're going to put Demon over here and steal it, because when it's rolled, we can put that in the discard, so we don't have to worry about it. We can also make Azure a liability for player 1, or we can steal Azure because we like the idea of having an extra card each turn. And we're going to put Chaos with a detonate on player 3. Player 3's turn. Draw 2. We have Topaz, which says at the beginning of your turn, you have to discard a card. And Shards, it says at the end of your turn, you have to discard 2 cards and then roll this to the right. Well, we definitely have to play a card, because if we don't, by the end of our turn, we lose the game there. And since it's Chaos, we don't get to choose the first card that we play, so this is a problem, and hopefully we can make this somebody else's problem. We have to play a detonate. We're throwing it over there on Azure. We don't want it to just be good for our opponents. Now we can do what we like. This player is rolling left. We're also going to put Shards over there to put some pressure on that hand size. Pass turn. Player 1 draws 2. Has to do something. We're playing at random. Got your detonate to Shards. And we will roll Chaos back over there. Moving on to player 2, we have Azure to trigger for a card. Draw phase 2 cards. We drew Opal, which says at the beginning of your turn, you get a random card out of the discard, and Ember, when it is rolled to a player, that player discards a card. We have 2 things we need to get rid of, or we will lose the game. We have one way to get rid of things. So this is not good. We are not on a roll. What we can do is at least roll Shards left to player 3, and then at end we lose the game, rolling all of our spheres from our zone into the discard, and discarding our hands, eliminated out of the game. So, player 3 has no start of turn effects. Goes to draw phase, draws 2. Still has Chaos in play, so it's going to have to play at random. And in this situation, just like real life, I don't want to keep my balls to myself. So we're going to have to get rid of both of these. Trash. We roll one of these into the discard. Chaos is kind of really annoying, but we kind of want it to be annoying for our opponent. So let's roll Shards into the trash. Let's see what we're looking at. We'll put Topaz over here in this zone. Put some pressure on the opponent's hand. Passing turn. Oh wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Got to roll left. Now end step, safe, passing turn. These guys go. And we don't believe we're going to try to win with Venus. So that's going to be the card that we discarded Topaz before our draw step. So now that our draw phase has begun, we get 2 more cards. We are looking at Rain, which when it's rolled to a player, that player draws a card. Angel, if you would lose the game, you roll this into the discard instead. So here's what we're... Oh. Alright, I have a good plan, but Chaos might mess it up. So we're going to play a card. Alright, Rain. It's all part of the plan. We put Rain over there. so that we can trade chaos for it and draw another card. After we do that, we will roll topaz back to that player. Pass turn. So this is in a rough situation. It's the beginning of turn, we have to discard our only card. We draw 2 cards. We only have to get rid of one of them, but the other one we don't want either. And we don't get to choose our first play. We're going to roll chaos left. And yeah, it's better than discarding it next turn. We're going to throw topaz into the list of problems over here. So, start a turn. We have to discard. And I think I would have rather discard Angel so that I could put Chaos into the other zone. Which is exactly what's going to happen here. And I'm just going to trash Topaz, because I don't like that thing right now. Passing the turn over to this player, draws 2 cards. This is a bad situation, because it has to play at random and neither of these can save this player. If there were more players, this player could go total spite and throw some things into somebody else's zone before dying, but it'll make no impact. So player 1 is the winner of our test run game. But it's really that simple. Thanks for watching and enjoy.